tear, it falls and hits the ground. A tree, it falls without a sound. A bird, it calls and sends you home. A man, he sits in the cold all alone.
Hi, Jelissa. Welcome to the Joy of Sunflowers. Thank you so much for joining us. Please introduce yourself a little bit more.
So my name is Jelissa. I currently live in Florida, but I'm originally from Connecticut. I'm currently a student, getting my master's in social work, because I want to be a therapist, for perinatal mental health, grief, and trauma. And I'm the creator of Rainbow Manifestations on Instagram. And I also created the Lost Mama Connection event. And more importantly, I am the mother to my daughter, Yvette, who is in heaven.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. Let's start off from the very beginning. Did you always know you wanted to have kids, or was it something that you sort of came to?
Um, I think I knew that I wanted to have kids, but it wasn't like, I see some other woman that was their dream, sort of like growing up. That's all they really thought of. It was just in the back of my head all the time. I knew that I told my husband, I want to have kids at the age of 28. Like that would be where I want to start trying. But it didn't turn out like that. We started trying when we've been together for a real long time, 12 years, but we started trying when I was like 25, 24, 25 years old. So I think it was because we've been together for so long, and I said, well, we've been together for so long, let's just try. Let's just see where it goes and see what happens.
Yeah. So okay, so you started trying at 25. How did your journey go from there to where we are now?
Oh, it's been a real long journey. Um, so after a certain point, and I can't remember exactly what year, but I did see an IVF doctor because we were probably trying for 6 years, I think, at the time. I saw IVF doctor in Connecticut. And I did all the testing. I did everything, literally everything. And then they informed me after all the testing was done that I was considered an unexplained infertility, which really sucked at the time because I didn't even understand what that meant. I really went into this infertility thing with absolutely no information. I didn't have any friends or family members that did IVF or hadn't or openly spoke about having any infertility issues at the time. So I really didn't know what to try or what to do moving forward besides those silly little advices like you should have sex a million times a day or, stupid things like that. So then we moved here to Florida 3 years ago. And after a few months, after we settled down, I went to another IVF doctor, and he said that due to like all of the tests that I have done, everything looked fine. So we were going to have my husband do a sperm analysis because they never advised him to do one. And so it came out that he has antibodies in his sperm. So technically we were not unexplained infertility. We had a 1% chance of being able to conceive naturally if it was just his sperm and my egg.
Wow.
Yeah, so we wasted a real long time. We wasted like 3-4 years before we got any really, we got some really good information on it wasn't unexplained. There was a big explanation for it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, still have the unexplained, and then that's it. And they get their
Yeah.
husbands tested, they get tested, and everything comes back like normal or inconclusive or whatever, and then they're like, oh, we just don't know. So
Yeah, I thought that was going to be us. I want to say that I'm a little relieved that we actually have a reason as to why, but then I got pregnant and then I had my miscarriage, and so I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but to that extent, I mean, my miscarriage still happens, even though we were able to do IVF because we knew why we weren't getting pregnant, but then the miscarriage occurs because of something else as well.
yeah, and I mean, it's annoying that we don't get the education in terms of IVF, because we're told, oh well, if it doesn't work out, you can just do IVF, and when you do, you're expecting a baby, and pretty much every woman I've spoken to has had the same story. It didn't go the way it was supposed to the first time, and then the second time, and so on. But yeah, some people it's a success, but yeah, so other people, majority, I'm starting to see actually it doesn't actually work for. So until like the third time.
Yeah, I know the rate, like the success rates, like after you try multiple times, get higher and higher,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. Like, I don't want to wait the third, fourth, fifth time to have a baby. Like, let's just do it all in the first try. And I spent $20,000 on my first IVF. I mean, I did get pregnant, but then it led to a miscarriage, and then now we're going to try again, but it's another $6,000, not including medication, because I don't even know if I have my insurance changed this time around, so I don't even know if insurance will pay for medication or
Yeah.
or
Yeah, it's so much to think about, and I think a lot of the time the financial side of it gets kind of swept under the rug, or not really talked about. And it really is, it can be the sort of the kind of crux of it, like whether you can or can't. But yeah,
Mhm.
I know my husband and I couldn't have afforded to do that.
Yeah. I have a lot of families that I've spoken to that um like they can get pregnant naturally, but they have continue to have miscarriages, and they can't even afford to get testing done to see like what's going on, why they are having all of these miscarriages. And also a lot of them say that they can't even try to do IVF to see if that will get them their full-term baby. And I mean, that is something that I can't even express how, like, it makes me so angry that my husband is one who like will like flip tables over having to pay all of this money, and then you end up either having a miscarriage is what happened to us, and he is just like frustrated and infuriated that this is something that you just keep paying for to see if you get your dream baby.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, the education's just not there. Like, we need to know more about this stuff. And yeah, I think as well, like, getting tests and things should be on healthcare. Like, it should be on like insurance and things, because I mean, there can be some serious issues. Like, I've heard of women who have got like endo, and it's pretty full on. Like, I didn't realize how dangerous it is to have that. And if you're only, a lot of these women only find out through going through fertility treatments and trying to get pregnant, and then they find out, and then they're like, whoa, like, this whole new world has been opened up to them again, and then they're having to go through this whole thing to kind of be healthy. But yeah, I think it needs to be on healthcare or something, so that women could actually look after their bodies, because there are things that can be wrong that affect us, and our ability to have children, that actually affect our health, in the long run too. So it should be, but it's just not.
Yeah. Yeah, because I also had two fibroid surgeries to remove fibroids. so I can do IVF transfer, and it's been 2 times that my IVF has been pushed back because I had to get the fibroid removal surgery, but there is absolutely no research on where fibroids come from. And it's kind of frustrating because I'll speak to my naturopathic doctor who says fibroids definitely come from high estrogen in your body. And then my OBGYN and IVF doctors say, oh, we don't know. It's just something that just happens. But there's this study from naturopathic doctors that do see an increase in fibroids when women have like an increased estrogen in their body. But do these Western doctors, do they care? Do they want to look into the research? Is that something that is interesting to them, or do they just want to we just don't know. We don't know what happens. And then my doctor will say, well, try not to grow any fibroids. And I'm like, well, you don't even know how like they come from. So how can I just like stop this from happening? I would love to. I would love to never have fibroid ever again, but you're not really helping me on that. So
Yeah, I would go with the naturopathic doctor if they think they've got answers for that, and see what you can do. Because yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people have success from naturopathic doctors because they're looking at the alternatives. I feel like, the mainstream medical industry, don't really look at the alternatives, and they're so caught up in their books and what they are taught, that they don't think to look elsewhere for the answers. And we actually do have really amazing medicine, like throughout history, traditional medicine, and it has actually worked really well for a fair amount of people that I've spoken to or heard of. But yeah, I think sometimes we need to get back to basics and, get back to tradition. I haven't always been a traditional person, but yeah, I feel like that's what we kind of need to do sometimes, in the medical industry. Just, yes, sometimes it feels like they don't actually want to help us. But on an individual level, obviously there's lots of people in the medical profession who do want to help people, but yeah, doesn't seem that way sometimes.
yeah. I mean, I'm grateful that so it's kind of weird. So when I moved here, obviously I didn't have any friends. It's just me and my husband. We don't have any friends or family members here at all. And then so I like joined this Facebook group for like millennial girls in this area. And I met this one girl. She was super nice. I didn't know until like weeks later that she is actually a naturopathic doctor. And so she's actually my doctor now. And she works with an OBGYN. So I like that they have the OB aspect of it and the naturopathic side of it too. So you can intertwine that together, especially in my situation, because I'm mainly, after my miscarriage, it turned into this like, why? Like, what's wrong with me? Why did this happen to me? What can I figure out, or what can I solve, or what can I do so this doesn't happen again? And so they've been very understanding and like extremely helpful.
Yeah, I could see how that would work really well. Like I do think it's necessary to have both. I do. Because there are certain things that we have in the medical industry that are really helpful and are really useful. And if they just work together, naturopathic doctors and then your sort of more modern doctors, I think we would actually have some strides, in working some of this stuff out. This is ridiculous.
We would get somewhere.
Yeah, we should not have these, like, the fact that we're having this event and the fact where I'm talking to all these ladies, like, I feel like there should be way more happening than there is. So with your loss, how did that play out in terms of like how far along, um and yeah, what was the process of the loss as well?
Okay, so We did IVF, got pregnant in January of 2021. At 8 weeks, I had a very huge bleed, and it turned out to be a subchorionic hematoma or hemorrhaging in my uterus. And then I continued to have good pregnancy. I mean, I did bleed every day after that, but the baby, everything was fine for the moment. I was 19 weeks and 5 days when I had my appointment. And it was the first appointment that I went by myself because I was feeling very optimistic. And of course, it was the appointment that they told me they couldn't find her heartbeat. Um, I just remember the doctor just asking me if anyone was here with me, and I'm like, no, there's no one here with me. But like, what are you talking about? That you can't find her heartbeat? He just kept asking me, is anyone here with you? And I'm like, okay, let me call my mom. I mean, I don't know like why this is important. So I'm calling my mom. And my mom is now making it like the things that my mom was saying was very heartbreaking. She's like, well, tell them to check again. Like, what can they do? Like, there has to be something that they can do. And I'm just like, no, she's dead. Like, I don't know. I don't know. This is my first time being pregnant. Like, I didn't think this was something that can happen to me. So, then the doctor tells me, I'm like, okay, so what happens next? And he tells me, the hospital will call you for your procedure. Now I'm thinking, okay, I'll probably get like a D&C done and call it a day. I have absolutely no idea. No explanation was given to me at all. The hospital called me the following day and they say, oh, we're ready for you to come in. It was like 8 a.m. or something. So we get to the hospital and they're like checking me in and they're like walking me to the maternity ward. And I'm like, are you sure I'm supposed to be here? Like, I thought I was just having a surgery and going home. And she's like, no. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I don't like there's a bassinet there. It's like a full-blown room. And I'm like, why is all this stuff here? Like, my baby's dead. This is just so weird to me. It just wasn't clicking in my head. And then the nurse, I finally saw the nurse and she told me that I was going to be induced. And I can't remember the medication that it was called. But I was in labor for a really long time. I felt like I gave birth to Eva at midnight. Um, and I remember everything so vividly. But after I gave birth to Yvette. The doctor came in. It was like 11:59 at night or something like that. And my placenta didn't want to come out of my uterus. So I had to go and get surgery. That's when I got a D&C done. And then I got back to the room and then I was finally able to hold her. But I remember like while the doctor was trying to remove the placenta the first time, my husband was asking me if I wanted to hold her. And I was having like a reaction to the pain medication and I was just constantly vomiting and I was like, no, I don't want to hurt her because I just don't want to like, like hurt her more. I'm sorry, I don't want to hold her yet because I didn't want to hurt her or like anything or drop her or God forbid anything else. I don't know. So I went to my surgery and I came back and then I was finally like able to hold her because the day before I told him, I said, I don't think I want to see her. I don't think I want to hold her. I really just want to go in, have my surgery and come home. And I am super grateful that he did kind of like encouraged me to hold her because I mean, I can't really imagine not being able to like live my life not knowing what she looked like or not being able to like see her. She had my eyes, she had my hand, she had his feet, she had his nose. So being able to see all of those different characteristics, that's something I really appreciate that he did for me. And then I had to get an iron infusion because I lost too much blood like throughout like the labor part. Like I was just probably so much information, but I was like clotting, I was bleeding and like so bad. So then we went home, and that was on May 18th of 2021. And then ever since then, it's been like this whirlwind journey of trying to figure out what happened. She, of course, was perfectly fine. They didn't find anything wrong with her after they did a biopsy. After like a year, maybe, I found out that I had a blood disorder. This like specific blood disorder called antiphospholipid syndrome, which is like the main one, but there's a lot underneath it. It's almost like Alzheimer's, but then you have dementia, Lewy body disease, and things like that. But this is like a specific blood disorder that my OB tested me for, but he tested me for a different one. That came out negative, and then my IVF tested me for all these other ones, and one of them came out positive, and this antiphospholipid blood disorder. How I understand it is that there's clotting in your placenta causing nutrients not to be transferred to your fetus. And so the fearful part of it is that, like, confirmed next pregnancy, I would be put on a blood thinner or anticoagulant. And I think he gave me like I think it was 70% chance of being able to go full term and give birth to a living baby, but there's still that 30% that I'm not a fan of. I want it to be 100%, which I know is not realistic, but after what I've been through, I think, like, why wouldn't I want that 100%?
Yeah. Yeah, I've spoken to a lady who she has a blood clotting thing. It's called something else, like factor 5 Leiden or something like that. And she had the blood thinners, and she was able to have 2 full-term babies. And
Yeah, I hear a lot of good. My therapist, she is certified in perinatal mental health, and she had 2 miscarriages. And then she was on Lovenox and gave birth to 2 babies because she also has a blood clotting genetic disorder. So I guess there's different kinds. And see, this is where I get a little frustrated with, because my doctor doesn't want to explain things so thoroughly to me, my IVF doctor, because he has this godly personality and thinks that I don't need to know all of this information. Only he has to have like the solutions and stuff. And I'm here like I know some of it, but I don't know 100% of it, which is frustrating because there's so many different kinds of blood clotting disorders. And I just know of the little one that I have out of the thousands that there may be.
yeah. Yeah. Have you taken to Google?
I did. And the problem is that I can't even remember the name of the, like, I know it's antiphospholipid syndrome, but the specific one that I have, like, when the doctor says it to me, it sounds like blah, 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 and I don't even know how to even like type that into Google. And every time I see him, I'm like, do you have any more research on this blood clotting disorder? And he's this man that has done research on this specific blood clotting disorder like 50 years ago, and thinks that this research that he did 50 years ago, like, is the best research ever. And I'm like, has it been updated? And he says no. And I'm like, sir, 50 years ago is like really nothing compared to today. There's like so much out there. And this is you have this little one piece of paper that you're showing me. It doesn't really make me feel good about any of this.
Maybe get him to write it down. Get him to write it down, and then you can take it home and type it in. And
yeah, I've done that. And then I got to a point where I was like, fuck this. I don't like, it's just so overwhelming. Like going through this journey of trying to figure out what's wrong and why you had a miscarriage. And then you're also finding like problems to things you weren't even really looking for. is also very frustrating. And you go to all these doctors and all these doctors are saying different things, and you have to be the one to figure out who do you want to listen to? Should you get a second opinion? Should you get a third or fourth opinion? Do you trust these doctors because you've been through a lot already? Who can you trust? Because everyone is saying something different. I have my hematologist whose job is to know about blood disorders, and he's telling me technically I don't have this blood disorder because I haven't had 3 miscarriages, which is the category you need to be in to have this clotting disorder. But my IVF is like, you tested positive, you have it. And I'm like, I need a break from all of this. So I seen the hematologist, and he said, I saw him again, and he's basically saying like, we're going to treat you like you have it, just in case you probably do. And we're going to, give you the anticoagulant just to make sure, so you don't have this like another miscarriage. So we're just gonna,
Yeah.
He wants to like pretend I have it. That's how he put it.
Yeah, well, that
I'm
makes
like,
no sense because I mean, like you said yourself, like you and your husband have like a 1% chance of getting pregnant because of his sperm. And then I mean, you've only been pregnant once, so then you're not going to have the 3 losses that there's. I hate that thing, like where they're like, oh, well, if you've had 3 losses, then you fit into this category, or, well, if you've had 3 losses, then we can do some testing. It's just,
yeah.
why is,
I don't.
who makes this stuff up?
And I don't, whoever does needs to have a little chit chat with this community here. But what I really hate is the fact that we're paying. I'm paying you $20,000, and the least you can do is do all of this blood work ahead of time, so we can skip. We could skip this. This didn't have to happen. If you would have tested me for all these blood disorders, for any genetic issue, for literally anything under the sun, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have. I mean, maybe I should probably shouldn't speak for every woman, but I wouldn't have an issue being tested for literally everything before doing IVF, so I know that I have a better chance.
Yeah, you might have some very painful arms at the end, because I feel like they'd need to stick you with a lot of needles to take a lot of blood. But
don't give a crap. I'd rather have like no more veins than not having my daughter here anymore,
Yeah, no, I understand that. And you know what? I think there's a lot of women who would feel the same way. I mean, IVF, you have to have so many needles anyway. So, yeah, I mean, having them all in the beginning, like all in one go to do all the testing and.
Yeah, it's just one day. You just take 30 vials of blood out, test it.
Give me my iron transfusion at the same time.
Yeah, might as well. I might pass out when I leave here, but I'll get some answers.
Orange juice, you'll be fine. That's what they say, I think, like boost your sugar levels. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I've been drinking. Actually, I'm anemic. I'm very anemic now. So my mom has been making this beet juice, what is it called? Carrots and blueberry juice. And it's disgusting. But my levels have gone up, and it's kind of freaking crazy.
Okay. Tell me your secrets, because I'm always low in iron. I'm not anemic, but apparently I'm borderline. They were telling me.
Yeah, so let me see. I think I was like 11.7, like my hemoglobin was 11.7 or something, or 11.2 or something. And God, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but for like 2 or 3 days straight, she made me this disgusting juice. It was beet juice. And I even got the pickled beets, where it's like vinegar. It even had a high fructose corn syrup. And I was like, oh my God, why did I do that? But anyways, I had beets, carrots and blueberries, and I drank that 2 times a day for 3 days. And I went to get blood work the following week, and it went from like 11.7 to like 12.4. And I don't know if it's because of the beet juice or I don't know.
Did you eat
Or
steak?
no, I'm vegetarian actually.
Well, there you go. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
if you're willing to share the smoothie recipe, I will like make it like all
I
like
have some in my
ready.
fridge. Do you want to see what it looks like? Because it is so, it's actually a beautiful color.
Is
It
it you
looks
like
really
it tastes disgusting, but it looks good.
Yeah, but you know, so this time around I added mango and
Um,
I added monk fruit, a little bit of monk fruit sugar. It still doesn't taste good, but I'm trying.
yeah, monk fruit sugar doesn't like doesn't sound that good.
It's the beet. I mean, there's people who are like obsessed with beets, and I'm like, I don't know how the hell you're obsessed with beets because it tastes like a garden. But we try to like put a little bit of sweetness in it by adding the blueberries. And this time I tried the mango. I think I'm gonna add like a whole and like maybe 5 pineapples to it or something to see
I
if
think
it'll taste better.
my mom says it tastes like dirt.
Yeah, I think it tastes like dirt. I'm a vegetarian. I mean, people think we already eat dirt, but it's not, I don't want to it literally tastes like dirt.
Yeah, raw beet is not the best. You know, pickled is great, but raw, that is a strong flavor. It's very hard to mask it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
But I'm
don't mind it. I
like,
don't mind it. I'm a bit weird, but I can't handle too much because I'm like, oh no, actually, I've had enough now.
yeah. I mean, she made me a lot. She's like, drink this 3 times a day. I'm like, oh, I don't want to. But I think it's helping. I take 2 iron pills on top of that too.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if you're like on my Instagram, I complain about getting blood work all the time. You guys already know that about me. But I think like now that I'm taking all this beet juice, like, and also that day I got 10 vials or 12 vials taken out, and she got me on the first try, and it was like gushing blood like perfectly into the vial. And I'm like, I think it's a beet juice. This beet juice is, I'm gonna like rub it on my face. I'm gonna wash my hair with it.
Just like everything's beets.
Yep. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it, I don't know. I think a beet juice is my life now.
I don't know if we're overselling it, but you heard it here, people. Beet juice. Iron levels. Yeah. We don't know for sure, but we think so. I'll give it a go. Apparently, you do have to be careful. Like, if you, I think it comes out in your toilet. Like, you can look a bit pinky ready if you have a lot of like beets. So don't freak out if you've got like weird colored, you know.
No, mine's is
waste.
not. Well, not yet, I guess.
No, I've known someone who like drank like a lot of beet juice. They really like it. But yeah, they drank a lot of it and then they freaked out because they like peed like red stuff. And
Oh, even your urine?
it was not blood. It was not blood. It was just the beet thing.
Oh man.
It's because they had like so much of it though. I was like, well, what do you expect? Your body can't absorb all of that,
Yeah.
you know, but you're having it 3 times a day and you're having cups. So it's different. They were like, they just chugged like a whole, like, I don't know, gallon. It was bad. They
God,
freaked.
I even thought there's this restaurant that sells beet burgers, and I was thinking maybe I'll just eat some beet burgers instead.
Oh,
I'm like,
actually,
that
this tastes
sounds
really
even
good.
worse.
It tastes good.
Yeah, beet burger?
Mm.
I've never had it. I will one day, and I'll let you know.
Hopefully you like that.
I'm gonna have a new nickname like B Girl or something.
I might have oversold it now, so I don't know. You might not like it. But
We'll see. I'll
if
let
you
you
do
know
become Beat Girl, we'll find out because you'll put it on your Instagram. Beets! Like every week, you have several posts about beetroot.
Yeah, I'm gonna start like putting my recipe on there, and I want to see people's levels. I want to see like the beginning, and I want to see the before and the after.
Yeah,
to see it.
yeah, you'll have to stick with vegetarians or vegans because otherwise it could be like from meat.
So the crazy thing is that my hematologist said that when your iron levels are so low, having a high iron diet doesn't really help you.
Rude.
And this is where I get very like this is where I get frustrated at the information. Like you're a hematologist and you're saying this. I'm gonna give him some of my beet juice and have him like do some actual research and see.
Yeah, yeah. You know, say, look, I think it's the beets. Okay, find out.
Yeah. And I do also eat like 3 cups of of spinach every day.
Yeah, I've heard that that has iron as well. I mean, it just depends on the person. I know some people don't really absorb plant-based iron very well. So it just depends on whether you are someone who can absorb it or not. Like some people just do better with like liver, those liver capsule things that you can get like this, like from animals. But yeah, it just depends on the person and what you can absorb. But you obviously can do the beats. So
Yeah, I think I have to see a GI doctor because I have to see if I am not absorbing my iron. So I still don't because he said I don't he said I my job is to not figure out why you have anemia. My job is to solve it. And I was like, what the fuck? What? So we're gonna solve the problem that we don't even know why I have the problem.
yeah.
And this is why I hate it here.
Yeah, a lot of modern medicine, they sort of try and band-aid it. They're like, we're just gonna give you stuff to try and cure slash just make it like a bit better. Instead of actually, yeah, getting to the root of the problem, and actually finding that out. But it takes more work and effort. So, you know, band-aids are just easier.
Yeah. God, who wants to work that hard trying to solve problems?
Oh, just it does. It boggles your mind because you're like, well, why are you a doctor then?
Oh God, the amount of frustration is kind of crazy.
Yeah, how are you dealing with that? Like, I mean, I feel like we've bagged on doctors a lot in this conversation. Like it doesn't always happen, but occasionally, like, you know, it'll happen because they just do stupid things or weird things. Sorry, not stupid. Like, doctors are quite smart, but seriously, there are some seriously ridiculous things that they, one, say, and two, do, and three, don't do.
Yeah.
Or don't
And I
say.
know there are probably some good doctors and some that actually really do care. Like my first OB, and not my first, like my second OB, while he was the one that was there when I gave birth to Yvette. But when I would see him after, he would really ask me, like, how was I doing mentally? And I'm like, why would you ask me that? Now I'm crying because every time someone asks me that question, I'm bawling my eyes out. But I've been, let me see. I think this is my third therapist that I've seen throughout this process. My first therapist was interesting. My second therapist terminated me because I'm going to do my internship there. It's not like I'm a bad client or anything. It's because I'm so good that she offered to let me do my internship there in a few years. And then this third therapist, I'm not really sure how things are going. I think therapy is very hard, like finding a therapist that understands perinatal mental health. Even though she's certified it and has had her own loss, there are some things that I'm just like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with any of it. Um, but I've joined a lot of support groups. Um, I use social media as my outlet. I'm extremely vulnerable when it comes to my feelings on there, and I just really tell it how it is, or tell people how I really feel. And not because I want a response, but it's almost like journaling, but on social media, because I know other people can relate to it as well. Um, I feel like I've tried a lot. I've done Reiki, I've done energy work. I want to do hypnosis. I haven't done that one yet. Um, I'm in like different membership groups. I've like done webinars. Like I've really opened up myself to try anything that's going to help me with my healing journey, because my mental health is something that's extremely important to me and to anyone. My husband and I also have marriage counseling, because I struggle a lot with like him not really supporting me in the best way, that the way that I wanted to be supported, but me not knowing how I want to be supported. So it's really, we talk a lot about like communication and like how to just be there for one another. He is a type of person that doesn't like to speak about his grief or what he's going through or his feelings and things like that. So those are just little things that we're going through in therapy. Um, but I can't say, I mean, I've grown a lot. There are times where I wake up and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm still here, really. Um, it's been a freaking crazy journey. But in a weird way, I'm sort of grateful because I built this community, or like I was put into this community with these amazing women, and there's just so much advocating that we're doing, and I love to be the one to educate others and support other women as well. And if I ever feel alone, I know that I can always come to them, and they understand exactly how I feel, and they don't judge me, or they don't say stupid things that we don't like to hear. So one thing I have to say is this community is just so amazing, and they got your back. Like no matter what, they're there for like I've never met any of them in person, probably like one, but if they want to curse someone out, they will curse someone out for you, and you're like, and they're like your best friend online, but you've never even met them in person, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, no, it is. And I find it interesting because like all of us, we're like, oh, I don't want to make it positive. I don't want to make anything possibly positive come out of, loss. And I'm like, yes, I understand that. But and I'm like, yes, this community is amazing. It's a really crappy, like hard pill to swallow that, we wouldn't be in this amazing community of women and meet all these amazing women if it wasn't for what we've been through, which sucks. But if 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 nothing came out of it, it would suck even more. So at least we have this community, at least we have these women, at least we have this connection where we can come together, understand each other, and chat and deal with our emotions and the men's lack of emotions, or at least their lack of emotion shown to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's just I mean, for me, I lost my purpose when I lost my daughter. Like, she was my purpose. I did IVF because I knew at that time I wanted to be a mother, and this was it for me. Like, we bought a house, we were getting ready to like change things, and this was going to be my life now. And then so after I lost her, it was like I lost my identity. And I know a lot of women also feel this way too, but like, you lose your identity, you lose a lot of friendships, a lot of family members. I had to switch positions at my job because I was working with newborn children, and after seeing newborn kids every time, it would just be like just the most like I feel like I was going forward, but then having a meeting with the family and their children, I took so many steps back. And really, HR told me, they're like, how are you even doing this? Like, it's like you have a wound and you're peeling the band-aid off every single time. I'm like, I didn't think I had any, like, I knew I could get up and leave and do whatever, find another job, but I was able to work from home, and I really enjoyed that because I was able to cry whenever I wanted to. I was able to like lay down. A lot of times I would just go upstairs and grab her urn and talk to her, and I wouldn't be able to be a hot ass mess if I had to go in person at a job. Like, I don't know how I would have been able to do that. To this day, I still work from home, and I don't know how I would be able to go into an office and still be social and see pregnant people and things like that. So that there's still a lot that I need to work on myself, but I'm still here, and I think we lack giving ourselves credit that we're still here. We wake up every day, we get out of bed every day. I mean, I think that in itself is amazing, because the first month or two, I was stuck in bed. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. So the fact that I'm here talking about Yvette or even do anything, it's just like, I'm proud of myself for
And you should
trying.
be. You should be. You know,
Yeah.
I say that to many women because, you know, you have the strength to still be here.
Mm-hmm.
So that just shows you that you're stronger than you think.
Yeah.
This is not an easy thing to go through. It's challenges you, it changes you, it breaks you, it builds you, it does so much. And I totally understand what you mean about the self-isolation thing. Like, I live like in the middle of nowhere on a farm, and so I don't actually know how I would cope interacting with people daily all the time. I've been
It's weird.
yeah, like I've been,
It's so hard now.
yeah, I think I only really had like one like big social interaction after I had my losses, and it was uncomfortable. It was weird, and I cried at one point, and I haven't really had like a big social thing since. Now that I'm speaking to you and I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's okay. Like, I mean, there there was this time where I said, you know what? My cousin was getting married in Connecticut. So that was like 4 months after I lost Yvette. And I said, whatever, let's do it. Let's go. We go to the wedding, and then they do a pregnancy announcement. And then they do a gender reveal. And then we're stuck there because we had to take the like the hotel bus or whatever from the hotel to the venue, and now we're stuck. We have to wait until 10 o'clock or 10:30, whatever, to get back. And I'm just crying in the bathroom stall. And because my whole family's there, my mom is jumping up and down after hearing this news, and that like breaks my heart. Like, I mean, of course, like she can be happy, but jumping up and down, like, you took a little too far. Like, let's calm it down a little bit. But it was just like traumatic. And ever since then, I know, or I've made it like this thing where I always have an exit plan. I always need to make sure that I can leave at any time. I don't even need to give you an excuse. I'm just leaving. And if I start crying, I'm leaving. And if I want to cry, I'm gonna cry. But I'm like, I'm out of here.
Now, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to need to leave. It's okay to walk out of a room of people, you know. And yeah, it's great that they're having a great time, and you don't want to change that, but you can't have a good time with them, and that's okay. And honestly, I think most people who are understanding can accept that and understand that, you know, you needed to do what you needed to do, which is walk away.
Yeah. But I'm also like at this point in my life where I really don't care what people think. Um like to a point where it can probably be a little scary because I like literally don't give a fuck what people think about me and my grief. And because I mean they don't know what I've gone through. They don't know how it feels to lose a child. They have absolutely no idea what I go through every single day, every battle, every day. They only see what I want them to see, and they only see the happy little me on the outside. But they have no idea what I'm dealing with on the inside. And they have never, a lot of them have never even tried to like talk to me or even support me after my loss. And so I feel like I don't owe it to them to have to explain why I'm leaving early or why I'm crying in the middle of a show or I just I'm at this point where I just don't really care. I've been through so much, like I don't even care. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care. This is me, and I don't know what to tell you because I don't really care.
Probably a good way to be. I mean, you know, I think self growth and all those things are good, and you know, like having goals for yourself. But I think like accepting who you are as you are, and you know, whatever emotions need to happen. You know, that is a big part of moving forward and dealing with grief and moving through grief, because you know, we have to deal with those emotions at some point. And I know a lot of us run away from it because we don't want to deal with it. So it's good when you kind of give yourself that time and you allow yourself to kind of feel what you need to feel. And yeah, I don't care. That's a good way of sometimes, you know, dealing with it.
Some people may say it's unhealthy, but I think it's unhealthy when you care about what people think about you when they don't even know what you've been through. Or I think
Yeah.
like they say the wrong thing too many times, and at what point should I continue to let it bother me? I don't want to wake up every day thinking like, oh my God, who am I gonna have to educate today? Even though I mean I will, but it's not, don't sit there and play the victim about it. Like that's something I don't really like about people when I try to educate them on like what to say, what not to say, etc. And then that's when it's like, okay, well, forget it. I'm just gonna just do me because you obviously don't want to like appreciate what I'm saying or respect what I'm saying to you because you're constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it's okay. I'm just going to do me. I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I found my new purpose. I don't, even though my life is like sort of negative because of what happened, but I don't need someone adding that extra, dabbling their 2 cents that I didn't ask for.
Yeah. A lot of ladies say it's unsolicited advice.
Yeah, super, super.
Yeah, so
Like,
many people have it.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all have this super long laundry list of things we've had people have said to us that
Oh
has,
yeah. Yeah.
and then we're sitting there like, do you know that that was kind of offensive? Like, are you listening to yourself when you speak?
No, they're not. That's the thing, they're not. Like my husband said quite a lot of the things to me after our loss. And I got him to read an article that said what not to say. And he was like, oh, dang. I've said all of these pretty much. And I'm like, yeah, you have. And then we just laugh about it now. But but
You will see
initially,
that you educated him and you showed him like, hey, this is not what you say. And then until he stopped. Well, I mean, he probably didn't stop 100%, but he probably
oh
stopped
yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
And you don't have to hear that shit over and over and over again. Nobody wants to hear that.
yeah.
I mean, it's like my mother-in-law, I tell her like probably 4 or 5 times, like, hey, what you're saying is insensitive. Stop saying it. Here are other things that you can say instead of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I don't say anything. And I'm like, well, you kind of still are saying something. And then what you're saying is it's still not like something healthy to say. Like saying I want more grandchildren is not something you should say to me. Like say that to somebody else. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. That's insensitive.
Yeah. Yeah. I they try. They're trying to be nice.
Yeah. And
They're not thinking, but
no, no,
all
it's
thoughts
not
have.
that hard either.
Well, is there any advice that you'd give to anyone right now? This is not unsolicited. I see it as not unsolicited, okay? Because we're all going through this together and we all have the understanding. So it's not really unsolicited. I always sort of end the interviews on this, which is, is there anything that you would want to say to anyone who's going through this right now? Like you're in the throes of it, you're still going through it. Is there anything that you would want to say to anyone who's, maybe right at the beginning or just in the throes of it and they're feeling either like you right now or they're in the pit of despair? Because I've definitely been there too.
Um, I would say be gracious with yourself. Um, I mean, give yourself a lot of props for how far you've come. I mean, none of us thought that we would be in this situation, especially with infertility, because it's not something we know that we have until many, many, many years later. And I think it's important to just be kind to yourself and to your body. Remember to love yourself and take care of yourself before anything else. I think you are more important than whatever society wants you to do or what society may think of you.
Yeah, that's a good lesson. So true. And a lot, I think we can really get bogged down by responsibility and what we're told we should be doing, what we're told we have to do, instead of thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to be okay? And you can rejoin society when you're ready. You don't have to go and do everything that everyone wants you to do. If you don't want to go out right now, if you don't want to do everything, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But just make sure that you're not staying in that mindset,
Yeah.
because there is a line there. I don't know what the line is, but I think we all know what our line is. Like when we're like, oh, I think I've overdone this now. Like I've stayed in this too long. Like I need to get out now,
Yeah, I was telling my husband that yesterday. I was telling him I know there was a moment where I was extremely depressed. And a lot of times they don't say it's depression, they say it's grief. And I still don't know what the difference is. But I was in this grief, I guess, for a very long time. But I knew, because I don't know if other people think like this, but I have a psychology and human services background. So for me, it was important for me not to stay stuck in this because I know how hurtful and how difficult it is to stay here. And I knew that if I would stay here, I would be here forever. I would be in my bed forever. I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't do anything. And so it was important for me to find help. And well, when I wanted to. And I think it was, I don't even know. I think my bottom was when I just started drinking too much and I was self-sabotaging. And so I do a lot of self-reflection and I knew like, I don't think I'm doing any good right now. So I need help.
Yeah. Yeah. I think most of us have that inkling, like that thing that goes, oh, I think we need to sort this out now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my husband actually said it to me. He was like, you need to be okay now. Like, you know, you can't keep doing this, you know, you can't keep being in this pit, you know, you need to come out because we all need you. And that was really tough because I was just like, I'm still miserable. And I was like, but I know, like I already knew before you said that, you know, you're right.
I know this every single day. I wake up, but I just don't want to do anything about it. I'm sorry. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
I did. But here I am. Here we are.
We're
not
true.
100%. We'll never be 100%. I don't even think I won't even be like 60%, but 59% is like doing really good for me.
Yeah, 59% is good. 59%.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Like I mean I have kids and they, you know, need me. But it is really, really hard. Like, you know, you have loss and then it's like the rug is pulled from under you and you just, what do I do now? Like I don't even know how to be a mom when my kids aren't here, two of them aren't here, you know. I have some here, but there's two that aren't. And yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah.
I spent the first 2 months like you, like in a pit, didn't really want to get up. And it's like that every day, like where you get up and you're just like, oh, that happened. Yeah, like, oh, like I lost my baby. Great. Why am I awake? I want to go back to bed.
Yeah.
I don't even remember half the stuff that happened because, like, I know I got up and I was walking around and I know I stunk bad because I didn't have a shower because my husband was like, I think you should have a shower, you know? I was like, not doing anything, no showers, nothing. I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
I think I cleaned
For
my
me,
teeth.
yeah.
I can't remember. I know I didn't
This
have showers.
is even funny. I don't even know why I'm laughing because it's so sad.
I know. It's messed up, isn't it? Like we laugh about it.
I have a tendency of laughing at very sad things, and I'm like, why am I laughing? It's my brain is just broken. It's
No, if you
like
don't laugh, you cry.
traumatic. Oh God. I know I laugh at if you don't laugh at it, then you'll probably just cry at it, but we don't so gotta pick one or the other.
But there's also that mutual like understanding. So like when you, because sometimes I'll like smile because I've been editing these interviews and I'm like, oh, that was a bad time to smile. And then I'm like, but I was connecting, like I knew exactly what she was talking about. I was like, yes, I've been there. And I'm like smiling. I'm like, she's telling me something horrible. And I'm like, someone's gonna watch it thinking, wow, she's so heartless. You know? And then my other ones where I'm crying.
We do it to each other.
Yeah.
If it's like someone in the outside world and they're laughing, like if I'm laughing that my baby died and they're laughing with me, don't fucking laugh. Only I can laugh. Only a mom who lost her baby can laugh. You don't fucking laugh.
Yeah. No, it's quite funny. But yeah, I think with the like the depression bit, you know, and I'm the same as you. Depression. It's like oh, it's grief. No, it's depression. Like it sucks. You feel like you're in a pit. Like depression grief, same thing. It's just grief. You're saying it's grief because someone died, but it's depressing. Okay. But yeah, I think we can, that's where the laughter bit comes from, because we know, like, we know what it's like to not want to clean your teeth and not remember if you cleaned your teeth or not. And, you know, to smell so bad, your husband's like, can you have a shower now? Like,
I want to. I did a lot of, actually, I really enjoyed taking a shower. For me, like, you know, a lot of people go to like fall asleep because it's something that they don't have to think about. Like they don't have to think about life anymore. But for me, taking a shower was like very therapeutic for me, even though it's like a moment where I think about everything while I take a shower, but it's like a relaxing thought. I don't know. I guess I can't explain it. It's weird. But there are a lot of times where I leave the shower with soap on my body. There's a lot of times where I leave with conditioner in my hair. It's because I'm so deep in my thoughts. And I'm like, I don't even go back in and wash it off. I just like get my towel and I just wipe it off. And I'm just like, at least I took a shower.
yeah. Hey, look, my husband would be glad if I'd done that. Like during that time, he would have been glad if I'd just done that. Like, you know, he would have been happy with soap suds in the bed, even, like, if I just, you know, it was just the taking the shower part. He was like, please, just at some point.
I know a lot of women who I mean, taking a shower is a lot of work. And I know a lot of women who didn't take showers for like weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
who am I to judge? I can't judge you.
No, it's hard. Like, I think it depends on what the shower is to you. Like, for me, whenever I have had kids, I have a shower when I'm in labor and stuff, like, because it helps with the pain. So, I mean, showers and water for me is all linked to that. So I didn't want to have one, and because it's all linked for me. So I was like, I don't want to have one. Plus, you know, this bathroom that in this house is the bathroom I started bleeding in. So I didn't really want to go into the bathroom. In fact, there was plenty of times where I really needed to go to the toilet, and I'd wait until I was like fully busting to like go in there, because I was trying to put it off. I just didn't want to go in the bathroom.
Yeah. Man, I have the same thing. Like when I had my my hemorrhaging and I was like bleeding crazily, there are times to this day where I'll go to the bathroom and I think of that moment and how scary it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I know, don't want to live here anymore because of all of the memories. But I also was pregnant here, and that's like the only really good thing I have from EVET, or, you know, so it's, I mean, there's always all these pros and cons and all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's all I have of those pregnancies as well. Like, living in this house is all I have of them, because there was nothing to bury and there was nothing to do anything with, except for a sack, which, yeah, I don't even know what my husband did with it, but he took it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and no one sets you up for that. No one tells you what to do. No one prepares you.
No. I mean, you were told you're going to go to hospital.
Look, we both just had this mind blown, like the fact that no one tells you.
Yeah. No one tells you. And like, you got told that you're going to the hospital for a surgery, and they didn't even explain it to you. Like, you thought you were going in for a D&C, and then they're like, oh no, you're going to be induced. And you're like, what? I'm going to be what?
Yeah.
What do
I
you
don't
mean?
know if like assume. I basically assumed because, well, no one told me anything. I mean, I'm stuck in shock. Am I supposed to ask like questions? I mean, I really think they should have like a Q&A. Here, this is all the information that you will need.
Yeah.
Before tomorrow. Try to read it.
It'd be, I mean, that's going to be traumatic in itself, but it would be less traumatic than like just being like, oh, hey, you're going in for a thing. oh yeah, you're giving birth right now, that we're going to induce you, and then you're going to have to go for a DNC afterwards. Great.
And then you have a room next door, and home chick is giving birth to a living baby, and then you have me giving birth to a dead baby. And
I feel like they need a different ward, like a whole
yeah,
different area.
yeah, absolutely. I agree 1,000%. I didn't even want to be put on that floor, and I was confused. I think about it so much. And then I came to the hospital. Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Soundproof.
I was like, soundproof room that's like secluded. It's all like private, you know? So you can't hear what's going on. So it's not like a big deal-ish.
And the nurse is telling me like, yeah, you hear her yelling. She's not taking any pain medication. I'm like, I didn't ask you. And I didn't even hear, I don't even care if she's yelling. What are we talking about? I don't care what's happening in that room. I know she's having a living baby. Congrats. But here I am. Yes, I'm taking pain medication, but it's making me vomit. It's not even working. So I'm also going through this without taking any pain medication. Plus, my child is dead. So let's reel that back in.
Yeah, I don't know where these people learn their manners and their bedside whatever it is, but they need to be reschooled because the teaching's wrong.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of moms that are working on trauma-informed care for the medical field because a lot of them don't seem to have experience or education in it, which is mind-boggling.
Well, yeah, because they've said it's so common. Like if it's that common, then why aren't they informed about it? Like why don't they deal with it better? Why don't they say the right things to us?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so common that we don't know a majority of reason as to why women have miscarriages. I mean, it's just all a freaking mess.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's exhausting. Like, it's just messy. And I mean, I really want to give props to all of these women that are like putting all these policies out there, working with push pregnancy, like working with all of these different legislators and talking to representatives, and like, oh God, there are so many women doing so many amazing freaking things. Oh God, it's like freaking mind blowing. I love what everyone is doing, but it's like we have to freaking work our asses off to get something set across, something for people to understand what is going on. And it's like society still doesn't want to talk about women and having miscarriages, pregnancy loss, SIDS. I mean, there's so many reasons. No one wants to talk about it. Why are we not talking about it? Which is very frustrating. And that buckles down to like everything that happens in a doctor's office. You know, there's just so many things that is done wrong. And I think there's so much need for improvement, then we really need to do better.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to like when does life begin? Because I think that it's basically it's dehumanized, it's devalued because, you know, it's an unborn child rather than a child that was already out and living out on the earth. But they were still on the earth because they were in us. So, but yeah, I think it's that because people don't know what they should classify it as. I mean, I'm a Christian, so for me, sperm, egg, baby, life, done. You know, that's life, and it's life as soon as it happens. But then for other people, they're like, oh, well, after first trimester or after this or after that. So it's just, I think that's the main problem. It's just you know, when society decide whether a life is a life and whether it's valid or not. And I had a conversation before this one where her baby was born. I'm going to try not to cry. Her baby was born alive, but it was at 22 weeks or 21 weeks, and they did nothing. They wouldn't touch the baby at all. And
What? Why?
because it wasn't viable.
I would strangle. My husband would probably strangle everybody in that building.
I cried so much when I was talking to her because I was just like, I didn't even know that happens. What is that? Like, how can you be a medical professional and stand there while a baby is like gasping and dying essentially and do nothing? That happens. That actually happens. So anyway, I had to say that because I'm still mind boggled about it and I'm really upset about it.
That's fucking sick.
Oh, she's taking action. So, but and if it happened to her, then it has happened to other women. So
I know that's what's crazy about it.
yeah. Yeah. I think just so much needs to change. And yeah, one of the main things is humanizing. We need to actually start humanizing and saying that it's valid. It's a valid life, and we need to stop devaluing it just because it's not out of the mother.
Yeah. I really like if you see a mother wanting help and asking for help with her pregnancy, then help her. Like, don't gaslight her, don't diminish her feelings, don't make her feel like she's crazy. Just do whatever to make her feel better, make her feel comforted.
Yeah. And
That's
we know
it.
our bodies. We know our bodies. Like, I've heard so many stories now of women who knew what was going on with them. And
Don't tell me about my body. That's something that freaking drives me crazy.
yeah. And they were like, help me. And the doctor's just like, no, you're fine. And she's like, no, I'm not. One of the ladies, she was just like, she said, oh, I turned to the nurse and I said, I'm going to pass out now. And then she did.
Oh my God. And they were just like, okay, bye. Probably.
No, she said when she came back, like there was like more nurses, more doctors, more like just people crowding her, like taking care of her. But she was like, yeah, she knew.
Yeah.
That, you know.
Of course she's gonna know. And they're probably just like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's like, yes, I am. Like, oh my God.
It's like what? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Mm-mm. No. Mm. So many things like just make me angry about
Oh,
this whole entire all of this. And you sit and like I don't know about you, but I sit there and I think so hard about like certain situations, certain scenarios, and how it could have been avoided. And that just is a trigger. And that makes me very angry because I mean, a lot of things, so many things can be avoided. If you
yeah.
just listen, if you take your time and not like your 10-minute, 15-minute moment that you have with your patient, like take the time and listen and care and reflect and, just do so many things. I mean, a lot of things could be avoided. I'm not saying everything can be avoided, but a lot of things.
But yeah, I mean, there's been a few where I'm just like, well, that's just unavoidable. That's not anyone's fault. That's just a freak, horrible thing that happened, like the cord wrapping around the baby or something like that. Those are freak things that, you can't, really know about. But in terms of like, yeah, they could have done something for that baby. They could, there's just, yeah, it disgusts me and stresses me. And you're right. Yes, it is a trigger. Triggers me a lot. but maybe this is a good thing that it's triggering us, because then we can do something about it. I said to my husband, I said, I'm going to say something, like, you know, if they tell me, like, if doctors tell me something I don't agree with, or that I think, you know, they need to know about, I'm gonna bloody tell them, because they need to know. But yeah, I'm planning on actually telling my GP about how to handle women who have gone through loss, because I'm not saying she did a shoddy job, but she did a shoddy job.
I think it's, I mean, it's kind of crazy because if miscarriage and pregnancy loss is so common, like you were saying before, how is it that they're not really explaining like the next process, the next steps, or like, you know, also like in the hospital too, when you're in the hospital, you're leaving the hospital, you're not given much information. And that's something that kind of blows my mind. I left the
Where's
hospital
the
with a piece.
pamphlets?
Oh, I didn't get any pamphlets.
Yeah, where are they? Like, where's the pamphlets and like those stupid handout things that you get? Like, they give
No.
it when you have a baby.
I expect an encyclopedia of what to expect after losing. I expect how I'm going to feel, the 5 stages of grief, how to ask for help, because I don't know how to ask for help. Someone needs to tell me how to do that. I expect when to go to the doctor, what signs to look for. I have a lot more things I expect. I have a lot of pages to fill.
Okay, I don't expect it in a book form, but I expect like the pamphlets, the pamphlets that they just love to hand you, all these stupid pamphlets about different things. Where are they? Like, you're right, 5 stages of grief. Here's the pamphlet on that. Here's the pamphlet on bleeding. Here's the pamphlet on, if you're going to have breast milk. Here's the pamphlet on, postpartum stuff. All the things would be nice. But
Yeah.
maybe we need to create something like that.
Yeah, I thought about it.
This whole community comes together and put something in.
Oh my God. Imagine it'll be like the world's largest dictionary. Okay, I'll read it. I'll freaking read it.
Lots of tears. Lots of tears. Don't really cry when you read the dictionary.
I mean, I left the hospital with a paper that places where I can call to cremate, and then I left paper with support groups. And there was only one like active support group on that paper. The other ones were like canceled because of COVID or something. And that's it.
Nice.
And I left with a memory box. They like took pictures of her and did like stamps. Gave me a book that I didn't read because I couldn't concentrate. I tried really hard, but I couldn't concentrate to save my life. And that was it.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
No, not by any means. It's not enough. But at least we can all connect and do things like this where we come together, and hopefully we can create that change. I know I'm definitely going to be more of an advocate in this space, and I know there's many women, including yourself. And hey, if you feel the need to make that encyclopedia thing, like, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about it, I'm like, that's a lot of work. But
So much work.
I mean, well, so I mean, I'm also putting together like this resources, like thingamajiggy, where like everyone can just come and look at, and it's not really about like the days after miscarriage, pregnancy loss. It's just a lot of information of like different foundations, people like coaches, fertility coaches, pregnancy loss coaches, people you can talk to. And there's just like so many things out there because there's like no information they give you about that. I wanted to see a therapist that knew what I was talking about. I didn't hear about the PSI directory, which is like the perinatal support
Yeah, well, you're the first person that's told me about it.
Oh, well, yeah. So see, like a lot of people don't, and I just found out about it like I don't know, a few months ago. And it's like they have all these support groups I think it's United States, I think it's Canada
No,
too.
send me some links because I can put them down below so people can, you know, check it out and see if
Yeah,
it will help
because
them.
there's so much on there. You could find your therapist on there. Like there's a lot of information on there. I
Yeah.
also just found out about this website called Mother to Baby. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically like if you're taking a medication or have um like a health disorder or health illness or something, you can see what medications are good for you while you are pregnant, what medications to stay away from, things like that, because you know a lot of us think about being put on anti-anxiety medications or antidepressants and we're not sure if that's good for us if we're trying to conceive again after loss. So I didn't know that. I thought that was cool. And then you have all these podcasts that people don't know about, all these books. So
Yeah, there's a lot.
yeah, there's good help out there, but it's like
Funny.
you have to really look for it. I don't want to really look for it. I want it to be there just
Yeah.
for everyone.
That's part of why I started this event because I was like, I want there to be stuff in one place. Like,
Mhm.
why do I have to look at YouTube and podcasts and this and that? Like, there's so much stuff. You're right, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to like try and look up all these things like separately. So, yeah, I think the more that we do these things, the better. Like, you know, bringing everything together under one roof so people actually can just come to one place and then, you know, go into all the different places from there, you know.
Yeah. But I think like this is what hospitals and doctors' offices should have,
Mm.
not just a piece of paper.
Well,
They should have.
that's one of the big projects I want to do after this, which is making pamphlets and things and sending and like um emailing the PDFs to all the different clinics and all the different like GPs and stuff and just saying like this is what you need to hand to people who have just been through a miscarriage or who are going for a miscarriage. If you think they're going to go for a miscarriage, give them this. This is what you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
I think that kind of thing would be really awesome, like on a large scale.
I know a mom who did that. And I was like, wow, that is literally like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like the fact that there's a pamphlet regarding information of like miscarriage and stuff. And she's also a coach now. So like you can contact her in regards to grief coaching or like loss and stuff. And it's like, I never saw that going into a doctor's office.
Yeah, send me a link to her because I'd love to see what she did because yeah, I'm hoping to do the same thing like everywhere if I can.
Yeah. I mean, and so I've you know, I also want to say that while you're doing that, like, don't feel discouraged to continue because a lot of people won't respond to you because I was doing the same exact thing, giving them this information and providing them with like this law support group that I created and no one got back to me. Not one doctor's office, no one responded back to me. But I was like, it's okay because now I'm going to work extra harder. And there's going to be a day where I will see that information there in your office and it will be used.
Well, sometimes you will get a message back.
Yeah.
But you have to contact like thousands or like 1,000.
Yeah. And I don't even know why they make it so complicated. Like, hey, you don't have this information. Here I am to help you. Why don't you take it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a terrible like just it's annoying. It's annoying. You know, you'd think more people would want to support you know, women going through this and it's just yeah, but it's okay because we're going to keep pushing forward and we're going to keep being loud and we're going to keep getting louder because unfortunately there's a lot of us in this community and space. So we
Yeah.
just have to
And if
keep
there's
pushing.
anything that I have learned is that like, don't mess with a mom who lost their baby. Like, we are here to fuck shit up. And that is what I've learned. Like, we give it
Make
our
that your
all.
tagline.
Yeah. Hashtag don't fuck with us.
But yeah, sorry, what were you saying? I totally cut you off.
I don't even remember.
You said we are here to shit up. Oh, I'm swearing.
Oh, don't do it.
I'm trying not to. It's really hard because some of my speakers do, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to because I'm just the host person. Like,
I wouldn't be able to do it. I'll be cursing up and down. What was I saying? Oh, that I think like we have been through so much that we're going to fight for what we lost, and we're going to like really come back. I don't want to say come back swinging because I'm not hitting anyone, but I'm like, we're going to be like, so like, we're so passionate about what happened to us that like there's no way that you can bring us down when it comes to any of this.
yeah, totally. I resonate with that. I'm not gonna say that, but we're
We're gonna
definitely
mess things up. We're gonna mess things up.
mess things up. Mess things up.
Yes.
My husband was like, don't swear. And I'm like, okay, it's really hard to do sometimes. It's like, don't swear on there. You'll have to bleep yourself out or cut it out. I'm like, okay.
There's a lot of bleeping over here. Bleep, bleep, bleep.
I think I'm gonna start like I'm gonna put like little warnings like swearing. There's a few.
Yeah.
There's there's like a good handful now. So out of like four, I think I'm at 50 now. So I'll be at 70 by yeah, I'll be at 60 interviews by the end of the week, and then I've got another 5 like either next week or the week after.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. So we're looking at 70 interviews by the end of everything.
Are you feeling exhausted? I know I'm like, this is supposed to be an interview about me, but
Yeah, like a little bit, like emotionally, but I know that this is important. And my husband's like, he really stresses it to me as well. He's like, this is really important. Like he didn't feel it emotionally, but he was like, what you're doing is really important for these women and for yourself. Like he said like he can see like a lot of change in me and like, you know, more calm and sort of contentment, you know. And
this is your purpose.
yeah, I've this is my therapy, like talking to you women, and sometimes I cry, and you know, I cry with you, and sometimes we laugh. And it's like we did earlier, and it was like that's weird to laugh about. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good. But yes, it is tiring as well, but it's good.
Yeah. So I'm an empath, and this is probably gonna get a little too deep, but I take on people's emotions like way too hard, like way too much. And I was getting very, very burnt out having my lost mom page until I spoke to another mom who taught me the cutting your cords meditation, where you're releasing like your feelings from like their feelings from you and vice versa, so you're not taking on so much, because this can be really hard, like speaking to about grief and like hearing people's stories, like, and it's very hard, and it's like so sad, but just like being able to try and not like warp yourself into those feelings and help, like, because that can bring you really, 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 really down. And
Yeah.
we want to remember we're doing this for like a really good reason, and we want you to be 100%. I mean, not 100%, but we want you to be up there most of the time. So I think just working on yourself and reminding yourself that this will still be here even if you need a break. It's really what I want to say.
Oh, thank you. My husband, because he didn't really feel it, he's been like my soundboard. So I've like been telling him all these stories and everything that I'm told. I'm like, I tell him, and then he's just like, "Wow, that's crazy," or "Oh my goodness," like, and like I might cry about it, and he'll give me a hug, and so he's like my kind of, okay, and now I'm releasing all of that on you, and now I'm moving on to the next, because I can't get bogged down in each story. I might hold on to it for like a moment, like, and I'll just be like, wow, that was so, and a lot of the time I'll pray like after, for you, um, and that kind of settles me, that grounds me. It's my anchor. So yeah, I just pray, pray for women to have their babies, and I pray for health, and I pray for strength, and yeah, that's how I get through. And my husband's a soundboard, so yeah. But thank
My
you.
husband's like the opposite. He's like, I think you're too deep into this, and I think you really need to bring it back. Like, you're giving like your all to it, and I think it's like sucking you in. And I'm like, well, I love it. I don't care. I want to do this. Even though I'm like sobbing, like hysterically crying when I speak to like a lot of moms. But that's why I just say like it's important to, like, if you know that you need a moment to yourself, just take your moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think some, like I said, some interviews are harder than others, some are easier, and it's just, yeah, sometimes I do need that moment, and sometimes I get that moment, and sometimes I don't, because I have kids, and they're young, and they're needy. So but yeah, I think, yeah, you're right, taking a moment is good. But if you're feeling like you're bogged down in it, yeah, take that moment. But if you want to be in that space, be in that space. Don't come out of it just because someone tells you you have to.
I don't.
If you feel
No,
like
remember before I told you that I don't give a fuck what anybody says to me. That's what I.
If you feel like it, maybe you are spending too much time there, then have a break. But yeah, if you feel like you need to be in that space, be in that space. It's helped a lot. It's helped me a lot being in this space and talking to so many women. It's really grown me as a person. I don't know. I don't think I would not be the person I am right now if it wasn't for all of you women, and talking to everyone.
I feel the same. Yeah. Because I mean, it's like there's a day where you don't feel as strong, or you don't feel you. It's like one of those days where you feel like giving up, but you speak to another mom, and they like kind of change your perspective, and you're like, wow, you're right. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it literally is that quick as well. Like they'll say something, and then it will just, oh wow, I never thought of it like that. That's just instantly changed my mindset, which is really, really powerful when you're in the throes of it, or you're struggling. Like, doing this event taught me how to hope again, taught me how to be joyful at the same time as feeling sad. And that was okay. It taught me that I'm allowed to shout at God, but love him at the same time.
Yeah. You have the right to be angry, and you have the right to be happy. A lot of us feel guilty for even smiling
Yeah.
a few weeks loss. I mean, I felt like a horrible human being the first time I laughed, and I was like, or the first time I went out for brunch with my husband. It's kind of funny though, because we were at brunch for the first time in like, God, I haven't left the house in maybe 3 months or something. I cried before because my pants didn't fit, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go. And then he was like, And I was like, you know what? I'm going. So I just put something else on. And then we get there and then he spills like this, like half a gallon of orange juice all over me. And I'm like, I'm glad I came because I haven't laughed this hard in such a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy little things that you take for granted. I mean, those crazy little things that you appreciate.
I like it. He spilt juice all over you, and that was your laughing moment. Love
Yeah, I
it.
love
Someone
it.
would cry. Women would have cried on that, but you laughed, and that's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's because he felt so bad, and it's just stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because like sometimes they're like, "Oh, why are you crying? Oh no, that's not good." And then they're like, "Why are you laughing? Like that's not normal." Like,
You never know where you're gonna get.
look, I'm a woman. I feel emotions. That it doesn't make sense. I thought you got this by now. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, we've been together long enough.
I don't know myself around my hormones. You don't know me around my hormones. That's okay.
No, my husband's probably the one that knows me the most out of probably everyone in my life, but it's quite funny when he doesn't know. But I
And when
don't
he does,
know.
it's because he forgot.
Yeah. We've been together 13 years and married like, oh gosh, since 2015.
7.
Oh, I can't math at the moment. 8 years actually. It's 8 years. It's 8 years because my eldest son is turning 8. So 8 years. But yeah. Relationships are awesome and funny.
Yeah, it's definitely something else once you have a loss.
Mm,
Definitely changes.
definitely. Especially if you grieve in different ways.
Yeah, and you don't really know how it's gonna change. Oh my God, I remember. I think it was like a week after I was watching this show. I don't even remember what show it was, but it was something like, did you know that 40% of men cheat on their wife after loss, after a miscarriage? And I was like, are you gonna cheat on me? I was torn for a whole month. I was thinking my husband was gonna cheat on me because I had a miscarriage because of this stupid show. I don't even know if it was like a documentary. It probably was. They probably made it up, and
Yeah.
I'm like, my husband's gonna cheat on me.
Oh
Like
no.
it's gonna happen. It didn't happen.
No.
It won't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they make that stuff up. They're like, oh, 40%. Yeah, let's say that. Yeah, let's go with that. 40%. That sounds right.
Yeah, I, it
Yeah.
messed me up. It messed me up for a little bit.
Yeah, no, we have to give them more credit.
Yes.
We have a male we have a male section to this event and to the interview library. So I don't know if your husband is wanting to watch any of them, but there are men who are going to be talking about their loss and how they did or didn't grieve. My husband is also going to be talking about how he didn't grieve because he didn't really feel it. So yeah, and then some other men who actually did feel a lot and had to deal with that. So
I really want to listen to those because I really haven't heard the male's perspective based off of miscarriage. I read what is it called? A pregnancy loss guide or something. And she has some stories in there about men sharing about their grief and stuff, but because I automatically assume like all men don't grieve because society doesn't allow them to. But it's because I mean, my husband, he lost his best friend probably a few months before we lost Yvette. So he was going through a lot. And he's still, of course, to this day grieving his best friend and his daughter. And so I know it's been very hard for him. And a lot of times he says that he doesn't want to grieve in front of me because he thinks it'll make me feel worse. And it's crazy because it's literally opposite. I feel like it's something that will connect us more, and it makes me appreciate if you're talking more about Yvette.
Have you told him that?
Yeah, I mean, we go to therapy. That's what we really talk about a lot
Yeah.
of the times. And he understands, he gets it, but I think it's just still something like it's being that vulnerable is probably really hard for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've gotten a lot better and closer, and I mean, like, God, like when I think of him and our like what we've been through, it makes me very emotional because I think people individualize grief, but a lot of times it's like a couple losing their child and how painful, and they are going through that together. And that to me is like, no one really gets it until you're in it. It's like they basically are one person, and they're just trying to survive after losing their child. And that to me is like something that we have to like try and go through. And but a lot of times it brings us really closer together.
Yeah.
The point where it's like abandonment issues, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, there's a conscious parenting lady that I spoke to, and she sort of goes into all the different layers of trauma and like how our childhood and stuff plays a part in how we deal with our grief. It was really interesting, actually. I really enjoyed it. So I'll probably link it below if I can. But yeah, send me any links that you have if you feel like they'll be helpful and or that they helped you. But yeah, we have got some male speakers, so if he wanted to listen to any, there will be a small variety of male stories. So
I love that.
who knows, it might help him open up. But yeah.
I mean, hear other men, like when men, like I don't know, it will probably make him want to open up because he can see that other men are feeling vulnerable or talking about their feelings without caring about what society thinks about them.
Yeah, there's a guys for grief, or guys about grief. I'm actually going to be talking to one of them, the host of that, in a few days. He, their whole podcast is on the men's side of grief.
I know what you're talking about. I think I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah. So I think yeah, but yeah, it's quite good. Like and I don't know, if you can get your husband to listen to it, it might help. So
I might just play it on in the car while we're driving. He won't even notice.
yeah. Oh, what did he just say? Grief? Did he just say baby loss? Oh, I didn't realize.
Wow. I wonder where this radio station came from.
Wow, this guy is so insightful, isn't he? Like it's
And then like change it. No. I think we should still listen to it.
like anyway, yeah. I'll pray that he feels like he can be more emotionally vulnerable. I know men find that really hard because of the teachings and the practices, but I'll pray that he can let it all out, because it's not nice to bottle it in. I'll pray, and I'll pray for your rainbow and having a baby in your arms.
Thank you. We should be doing our next IVF cycle, and our next transfer, which should be June 1st. I just have to do an ultrasound actually next month to make sure that my uterus is healed from my last fibroid surgery before we actually do the transfer.
I'll pray for healing then.
Yeah, I need that, lots of it.
Yeah. Yes. We all need that healing thing. But yeah, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for telling me your story and sharing and being an advocate in this space and, you know, not caring about what other people think and actually just speaking, you know. We can really get caught up in what other people think and it can bog us down. So I think it's really important, and it's a really important lesson that you've shared with everyone. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat. You can see my cat playing on the background over there, having the time of his life.
Oh yeah, I did notice it. It came. It did like it featured a few times.
Yeah, of course he did. Why wouldn't he? He's a superstar. Look at him.
Yeah, love it.
Oh, now he's like his butt. Let's just
Nice. Thanks, mate. Thanks. My cat just does the lifting the leg in the air and you know, and you're like, wow.
I thought he was bringing his toy over here, but no, that wasn't what he was doing.
No, it's when they do it on your bed and you're like, get off. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Now I have
Or
to
like, where do you
space. Yeah.
all this space in the world? This is where you choose to do this.
Yeah. Can't you do it somewhere where I'm not? Like yeah. But anyway, it's all right. I'll let you get off because we've been talking for a while. I'm sorry that I've taken so long.
No, that's okay. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you thinking of me and bringing me on here to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for talking with me and sharing your story. And please note that all speakers, including experts and professionals, express information, views, and opinions that should not be used to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any medical conditions. If you have a medical issue, please consult a qualified professional. Speakers voice their own views, opinions, and conclusions, and they may not reflect the views, opinions, and conclusions of other speakers. Ella Rose, The Joy of Sunflowers, and its sponsors may not endorse all or any of the views, opinions, or conclusions expressed.